So, hello. Hey, sorry about this. I thought I had scheduled it for until doomsday, but it was just for the next one. But after this, I will just schedule them for until doomsday.
It's all good.
I will then always update the topic of the day, but the date will always be there. Yeah. Okay, welcome. There's again some Rückkopplung, some echo, but don't worry. We manage it. Good. So, welcome, and sorry for this little delay. I'm also learned something that when I'm recording it, and it will be automatically published in on Circle, that I will turn off the camera and the microphone as long as all people are in, and then I open my appearance. Okay, just let you know. Otherwise, I will just sit here and do some whatever stuff while preparing. Hi, Dani, and I don't want to see you. I don't want me to be observed while doing my private hygiene routine. You know what I mean, Dani. I was just trying to start the room with a picture when everybody's in, not when I'm alone and preparing something. That's why.
Okay.
Okay, so it's always some improvements. Good. So, how are you all? Ivan, Alistair, I see regularly. Dania, I see regularly. Ivan, bit less.
I'm
You're
fine, thank you.
Great. And Anke is always fine. Good. So, second part of the last official old version 1 curriculum topic, module 5 on the skill development. We had a theory last week. And again, it's always difficult to part something that is purely practical from a theoretical part and don't mix it up again. It will always be a mixture out of it. But for today, I did not prepare anything because it's not necessary. It's a quite simple topic in the first glance, but we can recap everything, most of everything that happened before. That means module 1 until 4. The explanation is, or the reason is, I don't know whether anybody was going through this massive first version of the coaching certification. In the end, I'm writing about that. The last part is actually maybe clearing up a lot of the first 5. There's also a second programming part. I realized in module 3 there's already a programming, but this was meant programming just for the natural ground movement part. And in module 5 it's the programming out of the whole human movement restoration, NGM plus natural skill development. So it's a bit different. Maybe in the future we can separate it again, but in the principally, the whole story just makes sense if we presume that we are developing naturally, not just stopping at the get up, and that's it. But actually, that's all the preparation for something bigger. And the bigger is actually this high skill performance stuff. This is what we are destined for. Everything else is just the milestones in between that lead up to it and fulfill it, and doing this, things come together and build something new with new potential. That means it really makes just sense to get into the details of everything that was before if the whole picture is drawn. because if we now start with skill development, and you know that, let's say, forward jump, really from 2 feet to 2 feet, is a skill in the natural development sequence area, then we can progress from the highest peak down to the lowest valley, and not just being on something like a half of the job, being just able to, or just wanting to, doing a get up and regress from the get up down. That's just half of the rent. The full picture can just be done by the full rent from the skills down. And so this would be today actually a recap of everything, concluding with the higher skills where we develop for. We can cut wherever we want, but the big plan is always the highest peak we could climb. This is our to say the actual goal of evolution. It's not just stopping somewhere, but going through the whole thing. Okay, so are there any questions on the natural skill development in itself? No, everybody understood. Okay, one update, so you don't wonder what's happening. I will take the crawling out of the natural skill development leave because it makes no sense. It was a bit of in the sense of MoveNet, but I canceled this out. Crawling will be part of the developmental milestones, will be part of the NGM, but it will not be again a part in the skill development, which was the case that far theoretically. Okay, it just gets a specific role in the natural ground movement part, because there are movements that I say are more optional. They are here for covering some detail in your development, but there are really some positions, some transitions like patterns, and even some skills that have carry more value than others. Yeah. For example, vaulting is a fantastic thing, but the time you have to invest for the health feedback you get is not optimal. Let's say you invest 80% and get 20% of feedback because it's a high-end skill. Difference with or it's the same with climbing. Climbing maybe is enough if you just can hang into one pull-up. That's perfectly fine for the function of your body, but it's not necessary to do a power up or do a sliding swing up. This is more like skill, more like motor control, more like coordination. But this does not add on something that is very important for survival. Okay, and so the crawling, for example, is an example that is covered quite early and carries an immense weight in the skill development later. It actually has almost everything in it. There is a hip hinge in it. There is the rotations in it. There is the body weight shift in it. There is the contralateral pattern in it. There's a lot of variations in it that can make progressions in themselves. Yeah, like in running, we have no progression at all. The progression from running is a bit of jumping, is a bit of walking, is also crawling, but there is nothing like a leg swing jump, and then a 2 feet forward jump, and then a downward jump, and an upward jump. So there's some skills are quite limited in their relationship to others, and others are massive in their relationship to others. Crawling, sitting, the get-ups, and walking, for example, lifting, for example. They have much more relations to other movements and also to still daily life than others have, like climbing. Okay, that's just shoulders. You can spare them. or whatever, but you cannot spare the ability to sit down to a chair, for example. Okay, so this is why this is a bit of an explanation of why the crawling is taken out of the skill development thing, is getting downgraded into the milestone stuff, because they are not skills. It's not a skill crawling. You see, no grown up is crawling. This is a very exceptional movement if you have to chase something or getting chased by something, but that's not a natural movement, longer necessary in itself. But as a transition, as a condition, as a biomechanic, whatever, it is very important. And then it has good place in the developmental milestones area. Okay, so just not disturb you whenever you see something. Good. I would like to take some for today. I would take some examples, or you can also give me some examples on a higher skill. And then I explain you, we do it as practical as possible to go through the regressions of it. And with the regressions, we work on what movements are building blocks of the higher skill in itself, because the higher skill needs a specific ankle mobility or a specific ankle pattern. So what movements before can be used to condition this ankle pattern. Yeah, and also the same, how do we condition this ankle pattern in an isolated state, like body weight shift mechanics for influencing the mobility and stability factors. So it's a bit of a sum up of everything we did before. Good. I will just start with one skill out of every category. If you have a special wish on a skill, then just tell me. Let's start with balancing, and then we go walking, lifting, throwing, catching, jumping, climbing, vaulting, as much as possible. Okay, good. The walking skill. A little theoretical recap. So what is the walking skill about of its conditional and biomechanical ingredients? Should we do a bit of a question answer, or should I just answer my questions alone? Whatever. It would be really great if you just throw in some very simple stuff.
Dynamic balance.
Dynamic balance. Great. What is it? Can we give it a category? Is dynamic balance a skill? Is it a technique? Is it a drill? Is it a biomechanical principle? Is it a developmental milestone part? Is it a conditional factor? Interesting. Ivan, come on.
Maybe it has to do with the stability cascade.
Yep.
So then it is a biomechanical principle.
No.
Okay.
No, stability in itself is a conditional factor. You have to train for stability. Otherwise, it's not there. The difference to the biomechanical area is that a biomechanic would be a body weight shift, right? And for a dynamic stability, you need a specific range of motion for the movement itself. Then this range of motion can just happen if it is controlled by stability to form a pattern. We call it micro pattern because it's just the flexion and extension of one joint. And the walking happens on top of a moving ankle that needs to be stabilized dynamically because there is a body weight shift that affords the dynamic stabilization. Okay, the biomechanics this is not much. This body weight shift, body weight lift, body weight lowering, that's almost the same actually. It's the reaching. The reaching is the successor of the body weight shift, for example. In the new manual, we have 3 body weight shift things. First is if you sit on the ground and just want to get into alignment. Or for example, this. I'm not perfectly in alignment. I'm a bit square. It means if I just want to get into alignment, I do a body weight shift. It means the mobility we're losing brings us out of alignment. And just getting back into alignment is already the simplest and simplest and most little body weight shift. The next would be the body weight shift itself. That means I use the body weight shift to do something. So after getting here into the middle, the first body weight shift, getting into alignment is great. If I want to address something different, like I want to even improve my hip mobility because of another reason, I start with a body weight shift that is a body weight shift and works on range of motion. Okay, and the third would be getting into a reaching. Reaching is actually the biggest body weight shift that is under the umbrella of body weight shifts. And after this, the transition comes. Okay? So getting into alignment out from misalignment, using the body weight shift itself for mobilizing or stabilizing something, reaching to use this body weight shift for a purpose, and transition to use the body weight shift to move to another position. So that's an escalation of a body weight shift. Okay, so dynamic stability in the ankle, I guess. Ivan?
Yes.
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 Just to be clear about what body part you mean. Okay, yeah, that's an important thing. Walking is not very intensive. There's not going on a lot of stuff, but it will tighten up your ankles in the end. If you're not taking care on ankle mobility, walking can ruin the mobility of your ankle. The same with the running. Running is a mobility killer. And it needs something like ankle mobility. Otherwise, you will lose it completely. Yeah. Every runner, every football player, they have stiff ankles like hell, and then they wonder when they get injured in it. Yeah, because there's no room for improvisation, no adaptability, nothing to react. It's just one millimeter out of normal alignment, and the structure can't handle it. Okay. So this is a very important part. Another thing would be, you would say, shoulder flexion and extension. I think we could put this under the carpet. Yeah, you don't need to work on the shoulder flexion or extension for the walking skill. Right? There's not much going on in this area. A biomechanical factor that plays a big role would be, for example, alignment. Yeah, as more aligned you are, the more efficient the movement is, the walking movement. Okay, alignment would be one.
What about hip mobility?
Hip mobility is one. Good. There are some factors. Let's say they are secondary. Hip mobility would be something I would say secondary, because it does not decide whether you can walk or not. Hip mobility is getting important if the walking pattern needs to be very efficient. Yeah, the more hip mobility you have, the easier it is for the muscle system to move it, and also maybe not everybody knows it, but shoulder mobility, for example, is responsible for hip mobility, and it is responsible for the length of the stride, for example. Everybody can test this by himself. This little test is out again from the FMS. They have a test called Y balance test. And what you do is, if you're standing and want to reach forward with one leg, it's reaching actually, but don't change your alignment. It means I'm just doing this. Okay, now you could say, okay, let the hip a bit open. Let this get a bit loose. So hip mobility would increase. And do this, I will maybe get 10 centimeters more forward. If I let my shoulder go, like this, you see how my shoulder mobility is influencing my stride length. That means if you want to have more stride length or less restrictions in the movement of the hip, you not just have to work on the movement of the mobility of the hip, but also on the movement of the chest spine and the shoulders. Because of counterbalancing, because of compensation in longer strides. So they have a responsibility, but I would say this is also a bit of secondary. Except if someone has a massive problem with it in walking. So he's a walker and he has a shoulder injury, and then he says, since I have my shoulder injury, my walking has deteriorated or something like this, then you could say, okay, shoulder, let's go for it. That seems to be a priority. But for a normal person, it's not that important. Important is that the ankles are carrying the weight and giving some room for the stride. Sure, there is some hip mobility, but it's always, that's your decision. Is it high priority or is it second priority or is it third priority? This is your decision. One very important biomechanical factor would be there's no biomechanical factor except alignment and body weight shift. Okay, a bit of rotation. There's a bit of rotation due to the contralateral pattern. Okay, now we go to the conditional factors. Conditional factors would be this dynamic mobility, dynamic stability. There is some mobility in the hip. There is some mobility in the shoulders. There is rotation in the body, which comes out of the most important part is the contralateral pattern. It's a pattern. It needs to be controlled by the motor control and it needs to be put into practice by also mobility and the communication between the upper and the lower body. And there's a lot of people who don't walk regularly, or when they walk, they have their hands in the pockets, for example. And this is deteriorating this contralateral rotation of the upper and lower body in the walking movement. This is a very little thing. Yeah, Anke? Audio on, please.
I have a new point, so continue with your point.
Should I go on?
Yeah, I have another question.
Yeah, okay. Well, this was just closing the thing that you can destroy this contralateral pattern by not doing it, even if you walk, or by some strange deconditioning stuff from whatever, from sitting or from carrying heavy stuff, having always whatever suitcase on one side or a backpack on one side. And this is not a direct reason for any problem, but this could be a reason why your lumbar spine in the end, or your knee or your hip gets a problem, because in the long run, through the compensation, it will cause the barrel to run over in the end, this little drop. Okay, though that's that far. Okay.
Yeah, what is about dynamic stability in the hips? It's very important. You spoke only from the about the ankles.
Yeah, this is why Ivan was talking about it. Sure, okay. but in the same way, the dynamic stability of the hips, it's the dynamic stability of the spine, but it is very fine stuff. Yeah,
but if there are a lot of patients which don't have enough stability for the hips, have problems more than ankle. what I see, more the difficulties in the hip.
Yeah, definitely. The people don't have problems in the ankle until something happening. They are just tight, and if there's an incident, and then there's a supination trauma, and then they know, I had a problem in my, but the hip is used all day long by just getting up and down. You just feel it more imminent that there is a problem. But sure, okay. So we have the alignment for example, this upright stance, and there is all this little stuff that is built up in the ground movements should be actually enough to serve the necessities of the walking itself. There's not much mobility needed. There is not so much stability needed, and this is what we are easily cover with any movement on the ground. But there's this really decisive stuff, and this is this upright posture, and this is the contralateral movement. I think this would be just the first priority if somebody has a problem with walking. And then come the second and third priorities, and this is the stability, mobility, and pattern issues. Okay, and walking is a very difficult thing to talk about because there's nothing, there's not a lot in the ground movements of walking itself, because walking itself is that basic that it doesn't need so much from the other stuff. This is why it's an exception also. Yeah, it's about getting up on the ground and standing upright. This is big work. But walking itself, as we know it, is not much add on. If we then go for the walking variations, that means stepping under, stepping over, stepping up, and stepping down, then we are more again in the ground movement thing. But a pure walk forward, there's not so much to happen. Actually, this is why everybody can walk still. Yeah, this is such a basic movement. It's like breathing for most people. You have to mess up almost all of your life for not being able to walk. You see people walk, which you never would guess when you see them lying that they could walk, but they do it. It's too basic. Okay, so there's not so much big things to get out of it, or not so much to bring it down. It's actually easy to reestablish by having just a few cornerstones and then work on basic mobility on all joints, but not specifically for walking. It's quite easy to cover. Okay, a bit the same in balancing. What is the difference between balancing and walking? There's no big difference. It's just a matter of the base of support. The base of support is getting slimmer, and then it becomes balancing. And it's balancing just because you may be incompetent in balancing at all. Yeah, for someone is already balancing when he's walking, and another one is balancing when he's going on whatever low diameter and 10 meters over the ground. Then it's called balancing. From our perspective, from his perspective, would say no. This was just a hike. There was not much for me. So it's very relative. So in balancing, so okay, let's go for balancing. Any proposals for what could you do in balancing? Breaking it down, or first analyzing it. What is the most important factor in balancing? Yeah.
So I'm going to take a guess and say there's the necessity of aligning with the line of gravity.
Alignment, perfect. Yeah, that's the most important. The more aligned you are, the easier it is for you to balance. The easier it is to turn around, the easier it is to get up and down, the easier it is to carry something. That's the most important thing. The second?
Stability.
Right. Stability is actually that keeps the center of gravity where it needs to be for perfect alignment and for the perfect solution. Without stability, you cannot align. You cannot bring your center of gravity on top of your base of support, and you will collapse. Okay, so stability is a precondition of alignment. Alignment is quite high in the conditional factors. Stability is quite early. It's actually reflexive stability, one of the first. Okay, so the hip, the stability itself. So we have specific joints that need more stability in this movement than others. And this is easy from down to up. More stability on the downside, less stability needed in the upside. Yeah? So ankles need stability, and hips, knees is just profiting from the stability of ankles and hips. It's just the leverage in between. You don't need to work on knee stability itself. Knee needs more mobility.
Do you speak also about toe stability?
Yeah.
Because I find it for balancing very, very important.
Yeah, right. This is what. Actually, perfect. Yeah, this depends on how you want to differentiate it. But I'm working on the trainer certification, as I said, Anke, perfectly. Maybe this is exactly, look at it. Maybe this is exactly the way everybody understands it easier. That if you have a video of Alex is doing here of a 4-foot stance with closed eyes, and I use this for the stability actually. And you can start with, when you're on the 4-foot, you need even strengthen your big toes or in the toes to bring you up. Actually, it's also the calves that bring the foot up, but you need stability in the toes. You need stability in the midfoot. The midfoot has a lot of joints. So you can also say there needs to be stability. There can also be a lot of mobility. There's the ankle. There is the calf muscles, and all of this. It's not part of stability. They need strength. So it's more stability is coined for joints, and strength is about the same category, but this is concerning the muscles. There is no strong joint. There's just a stable joint. Okay, but you can go through this joints and in between and the muscles wherever you want, and you can cover them. But this is always already quite detailed. What you say if you work on toe mobility and toe stability. I would more say on the big toe base joint. This is where the stability and the mobility are culminating. Yeah, not on the two other joints. If you focus on the big joint base, on the big base joint of the big toe, it's completely enough. Yeah, but correct. It's the same in all flexed foot kneeling things. This is mobility in the knees for flexion. There's almost no mobility needed for the hip. Yeah, there is a bit of mobility needed in the ankles. But this is actually more stability prone. But the only thing that needs mobility is the big joint toe, the base of the big joint, right? So that's the only decisive mobility you need in this position. Yeah? Otherwise, you would be on top of the toes like this. Okay, and the other stability things are not something that you need to address specifically, because this stuff is already trained by just moving over the ground. Okay, but big toe mobility and stability is something you may emphasize in a special treatment, and especially for people 50 plus who spend their lives all in shoes and sitting. I think they all have problems with the big toes, which again is devastating, the walking, the running, the balance. So it's a good topic. Balancing. So as we said, the lower the joint is, the more stability it has to come up with. The higher you get with the joints, the little stability you need for balancing. This is the topic of selective tension. You may know this from the MoveNet curriculum. It means this is happening in every movement, that we have parts that tense up. That's the one that have to do the work, and we have to have parts of the body that need to relax, to allow work, or to have something like a safety thing. Like if you're completely tense and you're getting out of alignment, you collapse. If you are getting out of alignment but have some parts of your body being relaxed, you can start to compensate. You can try to use counterbalancing with one arm pulling you back. You could catch yourself somewhere. So parts of your body needs to be prepared. That means relaxed, to being able to act in case of. Okay, this is one thing of the selective tension. So when you see yourself balancing, you will see that there is a part that is responsible for the balancing, and this is, let's say, up to the center of gravity. Everything below is now occupied with the job of balancing, and the rest needs to be relaxed to be occupied for the exception. That means you need to do something different. You need to rescue yourself. You need to catch something or whatever. So just half of your body does this job, and the other half of the body is already able for whatever is coming up. That's also selective tension. Yeah, there is selective tension is also that it makes no sense that your hip is tensing up brutally because you cannot move forward and backward. Yeah, so there needs also be a tension that is not 100%, but a tension that is just 50% to allow stability and movement at the same time. Dynamic stability, as Ivan was calling it. Yeah, and it's just possible with a nice term we can use, selective tension. Okay, that's almost all in balancing. If you now start to apply the special techniques in balancing, like getting up and down, or the specials, or the reverses, pivot reverse, cross pivot reverse, then again some stuff is happening. For the cross reverse, for example, where you put your feet like this at the beginning, you need hip mobility, to have this rotation, to place your foot properly. If you're not able to rotate your hip and your mobility is limited, the rotation becomes much more tensed up and difficult and may cause problems. It means I have to mobilize my hip into inward rotation so I can make this movement more efficient. Okay, and this is a good point. How could we work on the rotation of the hip that prepares us for a cross reverse, for example? Okay, now we go with our thinking through the developmental milestones. We can start at the top. Okay, balancing is a standing movement. We go one lower, is kneeling. What can we do in kneeling to feed into the cross reverse in standing? Rhetorical question. I show you. Or Dani is already experimenting. It was just visual thinking. Okay. Yeah, good. Look, I'm kneeling now. Yeah, so that's the only possibility to regress from standing is kneeling. Okay, now I do the same movement in kneeling that I need to do in standing. So what I'm doing is I do something like this, right? This is a nice possibility to turn around in a tall half kneeling. That's exactly the inward rotation I need for a cross reverse. Okay, so one nice exercise for the people. What the good thing is, when I'm standing and I do this, I have, let's say, 80% of hip mobility, 5% of knee mobility, and 15% of ankle mobility that are helping for this 90-degree turn. When I'm doing it in a kneeling position, I cancel out the knee and the ankle. They are not longer part of the movement. That means when I want to turn my knee 90 degrees or my hip 90 degrees, I have to bring up 100%. Yeah? So for the pose, 80% would be sufficient. In the movement, in the regression, I go for 100%. That means I'm already doing more than necessary, which makes the process quicker, for example. Yeah, good, Anke. And this is why practice is that important, because the stuff is so little that you can just you know it by experience, or you just try it out in this moment. Okay, so this would be in kneeling position, in tall kneeling position. What about here? You could work on the mobility by working on the closed band sit, for example. You know this one, where you sit between the feet like this. This is an inward rotation of your thighs. That is a conditional factor for the cross reverse. If this is not possible, you do it in side bend sit, and you work on this leg.
Oh, Bernd, can you repeat which one is more for the hips and which one is more for the knee? Which foot position is more for the hip and which one is more for the knee?
What I was saying is, when you have the whole on the ground, the whole you do the original movement like the cross reverse.
No. I mean in the sitting position, which you showed just now. The cross.
Yeah, okay.
You said once in our how
Side
you.
bend sit.
Yes, which position of the foot is more for the knee and which one is more for the hip? If you ausstrecken den Fuß oder ob du den angewinkelt hast.
Yeah, can you test it? That means if I'm in the flexed foot position and I move towards the side that is limited, I feel it more in the hip now. If I then extend the foot and go down, I don't feel anything in the hip, while I can go further.
Yeah.
That means the hip is out of the training, and when I have no knee problems, but if you have a stiff knee, you will feel immediately that the movement is now more working on the knee, because the hip is out of its limitation. The compensation needs to be now taken by the knee.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's also that it's mostly about that my flexed foot is limiting the possibility to bring the hip down. It means I have room for movement which works on hip mobility. If I have this, you will feel immediately that your knee and your hip have much more range of motion now to go down. And then it depends. When you feel your knee a little strain, then you know, okay, there is mobility to gain. If no strain at all, then it's at the end. I would say this is a benchmark. It's not necessary.
That means for the inward rotation for the hip exercise, it's better to make an extended foot position.
It's easier.
No, it's not easier. A flexed foot position.
Oh yeah, that's more difficult.
Yeah, okay. For the exercise we want now, it's better with the flex foot, with a band foot. Oh, I
This
mixed
would
it.
be a progression. This
Yes.
has less influence on the thigh and the hip. This has more influence on the thigh and the hip. It means this would be easier if you want to go for this inward rotation, and this would be more difficult for the inward rotation.
Yes.
This would be progression number 1, and this would be progression number 2. Okay, and then we have all the possibilities to work on this mobility by all these positions. Right? It's all the same inward rotation we need for just a little nice variation of balancing, and that's the cross reverse. Yeah, it's all reversing in walking, and it's also reversing in running in the same way. But in the balancing context, it is a very obvious skill or technical raffinesse to turn around. Okay, and the last stage where we can regress is lying. And we had these movements in lying that are still working on this inward rotation. So and now we have a little training program for just this little part of the body, for this little technical variation, the cross reverse. We have one exercise in lying, we have one exercise in sitting, we have one exercise in kneeling. We can have 2 or 3 exercises in kneeling. We can also have this movement. This is working on the outward rotation, which is necessary on the inward rotation. Sorry, and which is necessary for the cross reverse. And the tall kneeling with this circulation around. Okay, so this would be for somebody who is a professional cross reverser. If there's somebody, it's just an example. Yeah, you could say, I have a natural movement routine for this specific specialty you are making your living of. Yeah. And he might say, wow, I've never heard about this. I'm doing some TRX and strings and functional fitness, but never told me something that was so detailed and so on point as this. Okay. And Dani, this was what I was asking you in the circle group. Where I ask you, Dani, with this information on the tests, or would you then be able to put this into a session, get some exercises and build a little session or routine for this lady, and this is actually the essence of the coaching certification, that you are able to what we are doing now replicate in yourself. For the trainer certification, that is lower as you are heading for, maybe it's not necessary, because you just take this exercise I was proposing and explain it to the people, but not inventing a new routine or doing some research on your own. Dani, sorry. You're still struggling with the audio? No. No, it does not work. You need to call the Kundendienst, the serviceman called Andres.
But she still is not muted.
Yeah, but we had this yesterday that she's not getting the right button, or it's something different. So Anke, I know, just to let you know, I know that you are not that much into this coaching theme. I'm mostly talking about that you don't need to know how to program stuff by yourself. You actually need more programs that are perfect for your people, and just let them do.
maybe that's not right, because now when you're speaking about what is the difference between coaching and training, I think I'm doing coaching all the day, the whole day with my patients.
Yeah, but I think it's difficult. It's a bit difficult to be a coach in the human movement restoration system with all these possibilities. But yeah, I hope I still can build up the system to make it very easy to understand. If it's more stretched and parted into two perspective, one just application and one the creation. Dani.
I'm here. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
What? Also my echo.
I don't know. Well, yeah. With I think I can do it because I know what she likes to do. I know what she's good at, you know, so I can approach the exercise that she likes and improve the things that she cannot do it. You know, with the exercise I can play around, you know, like she likes to. We always start our class with footwork. So this is
Great.
she has a problem with balance, so we always start with footwork. So she likes, we play with the ball. So this is something that, you know, that I saw you doing. She has problem with this crawling position. So I know that I can use the ball for her to play, you know. So now
right.
I saw things that on the videos that gave me ideas to play and do, you know, things that she likes, you know. So
you have to find a compromise between the things you like and she likes.
Yeah, you know, but I think I can do the program that fits her, you know. But my only struggle is, as I said, she never was able to do the deep squat. So, you know, I don't know if her body is able, because I remember you mentioned once that not everybody is meant to do a deep squat.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's her case, and I don't know how to test it.
Right.
So,
this is an interesting topic with the deep squat, and this is why I'm not sure whether it should be part of a testing battery or not. It's not necessary to go down in the deep squat and stay there and being able to sleep. It should be also a goal. It's not a goal that you are in force with I need to do this, because it could be, as we said, that your hip structure is not more able to do it. It means you just work on going down, and by doing it, you should normally feel that there is some progress for maybe progress over 2 or 3 months, and then all of a sudden progress is stopping, and the person starts to say, it doesn't feel that there is room to improve. It feels like my bones are getting closer. And because of this information, you should be able to say, okay, let's stop here. Nobody needs to be forced down here. This is your best squat depth. And leave it like this. We have a big advantage, a big improvement. Great. Let's go for it. Keep this up, but now go in a different construction site.
okay.
Alistair.
Yeah, one question I had is, if a person is not capable of doing the deep squat from standing, could they start on their backs, for instance, and like just, you know, bringing their knees up and like grabbing their feet, or maybe like with their feet against the wall and seeing like if they can scoot their upper body towards their lower body, just to like kind of unloaded practice getting that kind of like frog position.
Yeah, perfect. That exactly.
Just to see if the body can just get into the position without the load and work on, I guess, the mobility in this case, as an idea, and kind of like maybe to work the mobility in at the same time, kind of doing like the side bent sit, but unloaded in that position, and see if over time the flexion of the hip can kind of go further and further.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And that would be the same regression. That means we have this squat as the goal, And now you can scan what position do I find in okay, there is a deep knee bend is a possibility that the squat itself. So these are two variations you can consider about the deep knee bend. Then you consider about kneeling, right? And the simple this simple movement, our hip hinge, is already the squat pattern in a kneeling position. And if this is already not possible, you regress to crawling, or this movement, right? So you were in this movement, right? This is what I understood. Okay. Then you can go the other way around and doing it like this. You can go into feet hand position like this and do it like this. Then you have already with the toes in the ground, you have already stability. A stability factor in it. When you lie on the back, stability is little, but most important is mobility. And the higher you go, that means in the sitting, there is less mobility, or the same amount of mobility, but already a bit more stability. In the kneeling, it's the same amount of mobility, but it's even more stability. And then you bring her in the end to something where they get in the original position, where the mobility is again still the same, but you try to regress the stability still, to have not the full load, but still some less. And for this you can have a stick or a stripe to hold yourself, or somebody who is guiding you a bit up and down, pushing or pulling you. There's all the possibilities of regressing the original pattern.
Yeah, we are gonna use a pole too. There's a pole at her place. So for her, we are gonna work with going up and down, up and down. This is what we are gonna do.
Yeah, and you have to tell her. Yeah, and you can tell her it's not just now the squat we're working on. We're already working on the climbing skill. We're working on the shoulder stability. We were working on so much more. It's much more fun than just being in a leg press machine and pressing this plate up and let yourself being pressed by the plate, getting some deep root anxiety about it.
Yeah, so she likes that. You know, she's very excited with her improvements. When she first started, she couldn't put her arms up, you know, so now she can do it and she's so happy. It's small things, Bernd, it's small things that makes her really happy. You know, things we take for granted, you know, and when we are aging, this don't happen anymore. So she's happy and I'm happy.
Good. There was something. Yeah, Dani, because of, or everybody, how do you get the exercises I've got in my mind, and you might still have to look for them. The possibility in this Excel sheet is that you are using a command and 7. It's on my Mac to have a search possibility. And in this little search field, you give in wrist, for example, and then you get all the entries, all the exercises which have the wrist in the name. And then you have already from 2,500 exercises, just 50 left to scan through. What can I use from all these wrist exercises for my client or for this whatever? So this is already a search option. We will try to make this even more nice, that you have just your Excel sheet and there's the one cell and you put in wrist, and then you have a drop-down menu where you can just scan, okay, put this one, and then it will be fixed there, and then there's the link already fixed with this very simple stuff actually, but it's a bit slow process. But this would be the possibility for everybody. Now, if I have a client, she cannot do this. I know about what the body parts, the conditional factors in it. I use the search field. I put in this two terms and then see what's coming out. I think this quite. Try this. It's a beta test. This is good for giving me feedback. And there was another thing. Yeah, good. But I think this is a good example now. We just took two difficult skills like balancing and walking, but it's much easier if it's lifting, for example. Because there are really patterns in it, from lying on the ground until throwing and catching, which are part of the lifting exercise, and it's much easier because there is ankle mobility easily with a lot of exercises on the ground. There is knee stability, there is the hip stability, and with the pattern hip hinge and knee hinge. So that's much easier for common patterns like lifting to find all the regressions and build up a nice session that has the lifting at its emphasis than with stuff like balancing and walking. But in the end, if you know how to approach it with a structure and also with a database that is helping you a bit with the choice of the exercises, it should be possible. And nobody says you have to make a perfect plan. You will see when you program something like ankle mobility, it will always look a bit different. There will never be a perfect the same program that comes out of your approach. This day you will find a different exercise than on the other day, but in the end, the exercises are doing the same job or doing almost the same job. You cannot be always very correct. And also with the growing of the database, we will also have this, like Anke is also looking for a bit more fun in this, a bit more cooperation, a bit more possibilities that the people are coming not for the training, but for the community and for everything. This is very, very important. But for now, it's a bit of this extra mile that has to be walked when we are finished with the main walk. And that building up the complicated stuff before the easy stuff. Yeah, I will try to make someday a document where everybody can just put in his ideas about a bit of playfulness exercise. That there can be a lot of creativity put into it. Okay, so is it a bit clearer how you construct by deconstructing? Yeah, deconstructing the movement. Biomechanics is more like a tool. It's more of the conditional factors. Focus on the conditional factors that you get into this. What is stability? And when I do this movement, is it now a stability prone movement or is it a mobility prone movement? In the end, it's always both, but it's always more 80% in this direction and 20% in this direction. And this is necessary. This is completely sufficient. But you should have your first plan on how to deconstruct a movement on mechanics and on conditional factors, and then reconstruct it with your ideas how to fix these problems, and then put it all together. In the end, with the tests, just one thing, with the tests is also really a great thing for your practice when you have already clients, that you take one of the tests however they can perform it. If it's super difficult for them or it's a bit easier, and do this at the beginning of your session and then do it at the end of your session. And the people will feel a difference. And if it's just a little, it's not that difficult as before, and that is a success, I would say. Even when the program is not coined for this specific test, you will have an improvement on this test because you improve something in your body that is also not located, but also quite holistic. And this will have a positive effect on the test that looks different, but uses the same body. Yeah. Because of it's not isolated, you will always have transition to other parts of your body. And if it's not an artificial exercise, where most parts of your body will say, oh, leave me alone with this bullshit, keep this in your biceps, we don't want to have it. But it's a movement that, this is a movement I can also profit from. It's in your hand, but your shoulder is happy if your hand is happy with the right movement. Then you will always have a positive transfer. This is the the wholesomeness of the system. We can isolate and we can integrate. The others just move somehow or isolate crazily. Yeah. We can choose. We can move somehow, we can isolate crazily if you like. Good. Okay. We started 10 minutes later. We stop about 60 minutes. 1 hour, 6 minutes. Sorry. Okay. Everybody, one question? Voluntarily? Ivan.
I just wanted to ask, what is the difference between coaching and training?
Yeah, good question. This is just this little story. The coaching thing was too massive for a certification, and we have the two possibilities that in a trainer certification you are just get the tools for training other people on mostly pre-designed workouts, and we have about I cannot count them. 3 times about 60 workouts, and if somebody's have never seen this before, it's all crazy stuff. But if you know what you're doing, you know what you can teach the people. When you are leading a class and somebody is asking you why we do this movement, then you should be able to explain why we do this movement. And if somebody is telling you, I cannot do this movement, do you have a progression or regression for me? Then you should be able to find a regression or progression. This is completely sufficient, I think, for the beginning to get into the most important first part of the system. And the outcome is that you are able to teach classes or teach people or even teach a workshop for 3 to 5 hours. Yeah? And to make it this easier and as a product with this application, the possibilities to earn money with it, we separated this as a trainer certification. And you are all obliged to do both. Do the trainer certification on the new version if you like. It's already starting next week, I think. I could already open the first 3 weeks. I also build it up parallel, but I'm always a bit in advance of the students. But if we are through this, I will start with a coaching certification. The coaching certification now then covers all this difficult stuff. Most of you are still struggling with mobility stability continuum, for example, to work a bit more therapeutically. That means if a person has a problem, then you know, okay, the adjacent joints, the neighboring joints needs to be treated like that. And also that's one. And the other one is to really build plans. That means if you just encounter somebody who says, I'm a volleyball player trainer and I heard about natural movement. Can you add something to my training? I need a routine for my children so they don't get shoulder problems or don't have the supination traumas. Then you should be able to construct a proper plan out from your knowledge and not from an existing program I already made, just copy paste it. You should be able to be creative, innovative, and have my knowledge would be optimal. Okay, and the possibility to then also earn money with it, the same as teaching classes as a trainer, would be to designing special applications of the natural ground movement system for all questions or problems people have. This is what we already talked about. This will be part of the certification test, that you give me an idea on what you would like to create. You can say, I just want to do a knee injury prevention session. Then you can do it. You send it to me. I look at it. I correct it and give you your grade, A+ or whatever. And then we can start to talk about what about making a course out of it. We don't have a knee-centered course, So we could make an e-course with about 3, 4, 5 sessions, and you try it with your client, or we try it with different people. If everybody says this is great, then we can make an e-course out of it, a bit more professional, and then we sell it. And you, for example, with the proposal, gets a share of the more you invested into this course, the bigger your share is. Yeah. So we have on the trainer side the possibility to directly put your practice into a possibility to earn money, and in the same way on a higher level on the coaching certification. And this will be this differentiation between those two. That's the plan. So for everybody, next week, hopefully I can start to make the trainer certification available for you. So the first 3-4 weeks will be already existing, and then you can start to go through this. It's all in Circle. So it's all the slides. There's not necessarily for now a basic PDF for the general informations, like the general manual we had already. There will be another one, but which just really the superficial informations, nothing into depth, but just about maybe a Holon principle, about the Maslow's pyramid, this general stuff. Yeah. There could be a PDF out of this, but the rest is all in Circle as an education fashion. Yeah, just let you know. And you're super invited again to beta test this through. And at the end, also just let you know, everybody that is in this beta test group for now, like you, will get the trainer certification anyway, as fast as possible. Yeah, and with the coaching certification, you have to go through it, I think, in the second version then. And it is no extra cost for you. And in the end, you can do also the tests and be then a certified coach. But for you, it's all included. You just have to invest your time and interest and motivation. That's the plan.
Great plan.
Good, thanks. This was a good closure for the Module 5 theory, which would end the first version of the whole here lives on the topics. And next Tuesday, I'm thinking about maybe we just do, as said, just topics. Maybe next week we just start with biomechanics, and 1 hour just biomechanics. Yeah. Good. If you have any proposals, I have a special topic I would like to be discussed. Just put it into Circle, and then maybe we can just schedule it for the next Tuesday. Good. So sorry. Now we are really over it. I hope it was worthwhile. Have a great evening, and see you next Tuesday, hopefully.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Thank you.